Okay, welcome everyone to the first session of the digital education series that we're going to run monthly over the coming year so that you can learn some new skills online and we can help you to get used to some different tools and things that you might be able to use. So in today's session, I'm going to run through how to use Google Workspace, and then at the end, I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to unmute you all so you can ask questions, and we'll go through some specific problems at the very end. So the first thing I'm going to say is that last year, IWNZ New Zealand registered with Google as a non-profit, which meant that we got licensed to have what was then called G Suite accounts. Usually these are for businesses and they pay a monthly fee to be able to use the accounts. G Suite converted into Workspace over the 2021 year, and we now have full access to Workspace accounts. Because we are non-profit, we don't pay anything for these. What we chose to do through the national governing body was to transition people onto Google Workspace accounts over a 2-year period. So last year, we transitioned all the national and district position holders onto these accounts. And you would have seen that the email accounts were things like president@iwnz.org.nz or NZ294 chairman@iwnz.org.nz. The iwnz.org.nz is a domain name, and we registered that domain name for IWNZ New Zealand. And with that, we associated it with a Google account. So that means that some of the questions we're getting are saying it's not a Gmail account because it doesn't have Gmail on it. It is actually a Gmail account. It's a more sophisticated Gmail account because we bought the domain name, and that means that we can manage the back engine of it. It means that there are some administrators within the accounts that can change passwords, reset the accounts. At the end of the year, when you change over to someone else logging into the account, the problem might be that there are some security settings that are set. Admin in the background can override these, and they can reset passwords. Unlike normal Gmail accounts where you are really dealing with the big corporate and trying to change your passwords and your security settings, we have control over that from our end. So this is the second year, and in this year we have rolled it out so that every club in the country has a Workspace, Google Workspace account. This means that you have one account per club. We are suggesting that each club uses that through their secretary and president. You can have more than one person logged into an account at any one time. In fact, some of the accounts we have about 4 or 5 people that are logged into them, and they can come in and out of their accounts, and there are no problems as far as security and logging in issues. I know that it's frustrating at the beginning, and it can be really frustrating at the beginning. So what we're doing here is we're helping you to get a little tour of what we can do and how we can help you. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I want to take you through some of the steps and some of the issues that people are having to be able to log into their accounts. So bear with me. That's the wrong one. Oh no. Okay, bear with me completely. Oh no, here we go. Phew. I am going to just have to move a few things around. Okay, so when you first open up Google, We recommend, and Google recommends, when your first time that you log in through using Google Chrome. It's just that it's all set up that way, and it helps them to work out who you are and to help you log into your account. So you open up a new tab. So tabs are at the top here, and it will look, this is just the classic Google view. You can see at the moment, when I say to you, hit on your profile, your account profile, it is this one here, which I currently have at the logo because I'm logged in as the president. I click on my profile picture and I go down to add another account. I'm going to use another account and I'm going to call it training@iwnz.org.nz. Then I click next. It will ask me for the password. And now what is happening with Google, because they've changed a few things and they're now coming up with this, do you want to switch to an existing or to a new Chrome profile? I'm going to cancel that for now. It's actually a tool that has only been coming up in the last couple of days, but I'm finding for me, because I switch between about 3 or 4 different Google accounts, it just means that I can change my persona every time I go on without having to log in and out of accounts all the time. So now if I click on my profile picture, I'll see that I am logged in here as Training IWNZ. Now, what some of you are doing, which is great when you have a normal Gmail account, is that you're clicking on Manage Your Account Settings and you're going to Security and you are putting in here your recovery phone number and your recovery email. Now, if you have a current Gmail account and you want to hand that on to someone else, then this is where you go to check and you can change those numbers or those emails. But for these accounts here, they appear to be causing a little bit of trouble for people that have gone in and set them, because that's what you normally do. It's meaning then that if someone else in your club is trying to log into that account, they're not able to log in because they don't have the email that's the recovery email or the phone that it sends a code to. So we're actually asking you not to fill those in, because through the admin center, if you ever need change, when you click forgot password, it sends an email directly to you, but it also uploads through admin@iwnz.org.nz. And Ariel, who is working with us to do some administration work and helping us log everyone into these accounts, she's then able to help with the security and reset accounts and help you to get in. So the other thing that I do suggest that you may want to do is we sort of preset your password for you. You may like to go to the security button here and go to password manager and change your password. So you can do that if you want to. And it talks you through the steps that you need to do. I'm not going to do that now though. So to get to those points again, you click on your profile picture and you go to manage your Google account. And that will take you into those settings where you can have a look around there. Now, throughout the use of these accounts, there's a few little terms that I use, and that's go and click on your profile picture. So this is what I say here is your profile image here. And then I may talk to you sometimes about, have a look at the 9 dots. Right next to your Google account are these 9 dots. This is where all your apps are. And through your apps is how you get to your Gmail, to Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides. I'm going to talk you through all of these later, but these are the main ones here that you will want. You can change the order that these appear in by just clicking on them and dragging them around the sorry, the phone was just ringing, and dragging them around the area to put them in an order for the things that you're likely to see more of. So you can play with those there. If you go to Gmail, you will see that it looks pretty similar to Gmail, and that's because it is. But you will see up in the top corner here that you are working within Inner Wheel New Zealand, and I have actually changed that logo, but it takes a few days for it to actually roll through the system. So that just shows you that you're working within the Inner Wheel New Zealand domain. So we're like a little, for want of an other word, we're like our own network, our own intranet that we are working on, and all our documents and all our things are being saved within that intranet. The admin person does not have access into any of your accounts. They can see when you've logged in, they can see how much as far as the quantity. As you'll see down here, I've got 0 gigabytes of 30 gigabytes available to me in storage at the moment. So they can see how much you are storing in your account. They can see when you last logged in. They can see how many devices you have logged in on that account, but they cannot access the actual emails or your actual files or anything like that. So don't worry about that side of security. Your work is completely secure with you. We are not playing Big Brother and actually seeing what you have in your accounts. So that's all completely secure. This works just like a normal Gmail account where you can send emails and everything. What I want to show you is how to actually change your email signature. So that's the first thing you're going to do when you go into your Gmail, is you go to the little cog here, which is your settings button. And if you then click on that and you click on all settings, on this first tab here, which is general, you can scroll all the way down to where it says signature, and you want to create a new. So I'm going to give this a name, and I'm going to say in friendship, which is our general sign off. And it's going to be training. I cannot type today because you're all watching. Now I want to add a picture, and I have sent to a lot of you I have sent out through the grapevine already, but I've also put it onto the website, an image. So I go to click image. I'm going to show you shortly how you can download that from the internet, from the Inner Wheel New Zealand website, but I'm going to just select an image from my files, which is this one that we have created for Inner Wheel New Zealand clubs to be able to use with all their logos for the year. And I'm going to make it a medium size. And then underneath that, I'm going to type in the website, which I then want to link. So I just press link, and it will say it's going to link me to, oops, I didn't want to go there. It will link me to the Inner Wheel New Zealand website. So that is how I create a signature. And then at the very bottom, before I go anywhere, I must save my changes. So the first thing I've done on my account is I've set up a signature. So every time I send an email, that signature is going to be attached to it. Now, I want to show you how to import some contacts into your contact list. So what we have done on the new website is we have actually created a CSV, which is a fancy name for a spreadsheet which you can use to import. And on the CSV, we have put all the email addresses for all the clubs, all the district and all the national roles. So I'll show you how to download that off the internet shortly. But you just, once you click on the blue icon for contacts, you go to import, and it asks you to select a file. And I will select the file, which of course is not right here. And I'll go import, and it does a little whir and it goes along. And in a little while, what happens is that it loads up with all the contacts. So this is every club in New Zealand and all the national and district position holders. So those are then sitting there in your contacts list. You can then sort them into groups or whatever you choose to do too, but that's going to be basically your distribution list for sending out your club newsletters, for example, or it's an easy way for you to, through your club account, to then be able to get in contact with the media person or with membership or with anyone that you would like to get in contact through the Inner World New Zealand network that's sitting there in your contacts. If we go back to our Google Apps, we can then go back to Gmail and say I want to compose an email and I want to send it to President. Well, I start typing in President, and up, because I've got these now in my contacts, it just comes up and I select it. And then I just go test, and it will just go as a normal email. One thing that you may also like to do is to use Google Drive. So in Google Drive is sort of like, consider it to be like Dropbox, consider it to be a place where you can store folders and files. You can have what we called shared drives, and these are where you create a folder, a drive, that you then can link to the members in your club, for example, and you can all have access to that from whatever email account you're sitting on. And you can access, for example, it might be photos from an event that you run. So you create a shared drive, you give it a title, it talks you through all the processes, you give it a title, and then you add a shared link you can do it to everyone in your club, and they can log on there and they can look at the photos. I know that it's really annoying sometimes when you're trying to send photos after an event and the emails just keep coming back saying that it was too large, it was too big, that you couldn't send the file, or people are having trouble opening them. So what's good with Google is that it actually talks you through and gives you the steps everywhere that you go through the process. These other tools within Google are quite handy as well. So there's a calendar view, which comes in handy if you're going to do Google Meets. Now, Google Meet is the equivalent to Zoom, except it's run through Google. Now, what we have chosen to do through Inner World New Zealand is to purchase a Zoom license to do these training sessions on, because we know a lot of clubs are used to using Zoom, and it's actually a better platform for us to use for sharing our screens. It's got slightly higher quality in screen sharing of capabilities. But within the Google Workspace, Meet has been what a lot of us have been using throughout the year to have executive meetings, to have club meetings, and to have all sorts of other meetings. So to join a Meet, you click on there and you can either just start a new meeting. and it starts a meeting and you send a link to whoever you're going to want to talk with, or you can go through your calendar. Now, if you go through your calendar, the joy with this is that I can say I want to set a meeting for 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I press on the time when I want to do it, and it's going to be a test meet. I can add my guests. So I'm going to invite whoever I want to invite. It might be other members of my club or your executive or whoever, and then you save it. And when you save, it asks you, do you want to send an invitation email to your Google Calendar guests? And so you click send, and they will receive an email into their inbox to tell them that they've been invited to that meet. And then it gives them the link that they just click on the link, and it comes up just like you have with Zoom, an online meeting. Those are the main tools for this stage. The other one that you may need to look at using in some respect is the fact that we have just sent out to everybody, or we are in the process of sending out, I think a link has gone to all clubs for a club review, and that has been created through Forms. Now, Forms is a tool that we've used to create really simple response forms where you fill in the answers and it automatically stores it in the background, and we can then look at all the summary information. So there's no longer getting in a whole lot of separate forms and then someone has to sit and collate all the data. All the collation is done for us. So an example of a Google form that I wanted to show you is the club review one that is sitting in my Google, in my Gmail account. So the club review form, and it may look like this, or it might just be an email link, an internet link that I've sent to you. And when you click on the link, it opens up the form. And where there is a red asterisk, that's where you have to fill an answer in. So there are some simple answers to be given and some spaces for some longer answers of questions that we're asking each club. Now, the purpose of doing this club review form is for the very beginning of the year for us to get an idea of where you're all sitting, how you're all feeling, and what sort of things you've got that are scheduled for you to do this year. The district chairmen are being asked to write a report for the August National Governing Body meeting, and they're going to use the data collated from this form to help them to write their report so that we can get a good overview of where the clubs are that are doing really well, where some clubs are that need some help and some attention. So one of the questions on this form is also about Membership March, because that's something new that we're trying out for March next year, and we're trying to build a national promotion program. So we're trying to see whether or not you're going to be able to give us some tips and ideas and ways that we might be able to host some great events and activity to really get Membership March going in the future, and for things to roll out next year. So that's a real brief tour around Google Workspace. The one other thing I wanted to say to you is this: it may be really overwhelming at the moment and lots of information in there. So if you do a Google search for Google Workspace Learning Center, this site comes up, and it has a guide for new users, which for people that are new to Google or new to these accounts, you can just click on this and it will take you through step by step the sorts of things that you want to, the questions you want to ask, and it helps you sort of go through the process of setting your account up. there's a place where you can add a description of the issue that you're having, and it's like a troubleshooting spot, a help desk, and it gives you some information on how to answer those questions. Then I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm coming back to you here. So through that Google Workspace Help Center, it's a really good place to get the good information that you may want to help you. So I'm going to allow you now to unmute yourselves and I think I might turn the recording off and I'll let you ask me some questions. For those of you that are watching this online later, I hope you found it useful, and stay tuned for the next in the series, which will be in August, which is going to look at the Inner Wheel New Zealand website in more detail. But I'm just going to stop this recording now for us.